All right, I want to go back to discuss the latest on the government shutdown and get some perspective from the House leadership. Joining me now to discuss this and more is House Majority Leader Steve Scalise, who represents the 1st Congressional District of Louisiana. Leader Scalise, welcome back to Washington Watch. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me back, Tony. And it was great to see my friend and former colleague, Michelle Bachmann, with you a few minutes ago.
Yeah, absolutely. She's out here with us in Southern California. I just wanted to check before we jump into this. Are you planning on going to any of the No Kings rallies this weekend?
I don't think they want to have me. And, you know, I'd be there with the fire extinguisher to put out the American flags they'd be burning. But, you know, it's going to be a circus of the far left, an accumulation of all the nutty groups that are taking over the Democrat Party. You know, the people that are about to elect Mondami as mayor of New York are the center base of the Democrat Party, sadly, and that's who you're going to see, you know, probably waving Palestinian flags and just spewing hatred towards America and Donald Trump.
I want to play, I played this clip at the top of the show. I want to play it again. This is Chuck Schumer, clip number 10, please.
These are not hate rallies, as some of the right-wingers try to say. These are Save America rallies, Love America rallies, Care About America rallies.
Now, I don't know if you heard what he said. These are snot, these hate rallies. So they're on the defensive on this. They know what is happening here. How does this correlate? What's the relationship with the government shutdown? You know, word is that the Democrats are afraid to come to an agreement and get the government open again until after these rallies have taken place.
Yeah, Tony, and remember, Chuck Schumer and those others that are saying that, these are the same people that said they were mostly peaceful protests during the Summer of Love when they were burning American cities down and killing cops and, you know, just having all kind of crazy roughshod in cities all across America. That's not peaceful protests. It's not people that love America. But at the end of the day, the far left has taken Chuck Schumer hostage, and so in return, he's taken America hostage by shutting down the government to try to appease them. It's all, everybody in Washington knows this is Chuck Schumer fearing for his political life, knowing that AOC would beat him in a primary in New York, and to try to shore up the far left socialist base of his party. He shut down the government, not paying our troops, not paying our federal workers, just to try to wreak havoc over the country, to prove to the far left that he's fighting Donald Trump in some kind of way. It's a sick, twisted game that the left is playing with our country.
I was talking with the Speaker, Mike Johnson, this morning, and he basically said the Democrats have painted themselves into a corner. There's really no way out. There's nothing that the Republicans can negotiate because this is a clean CR. It's a measure that Democrats have voted for many times before. What is the way out for Democrats?
Yeah, it's, you know, like you said, the same level of funding that Chuck Schumer himself voted for just in March. And then he got eviscerated by the left because they were angry that he didn't take on Donald Trump and shut down the government back then. And so you knew this was coming. It's just a shame that the American people, especially federal workers, you know, our men and women in uniform, many of whom live paycheck to paycheck, are the ones that are getting the collateral damage from it. So, you know, I think the only off-ramp is whenever the far left lets Chuck Schumer go and releases him, then he's going to release the rest of the country. It's a twisted game. I think the American people, especially in swing states like Georgia, you know, where you've got both senators representing a swing state of Georgia that are voting with Chuck Schumer. And the socialists haven't taken over states like Georgia, and yet their senators are both voting with the socialists. And so if those people in Georgia, people in, you know, go down the line, Arizona, where both senators are voting to shut the government down. It only takes 5 Democrats to have some courage and take on Chuck Schumer, and we could get this government back open and still deal with the big differences that divide us.
Yeah, I think self-preservation is going to kick in at some point. Some of these Democrats that are in cycle are going to break with Chuck Schumer. Now, if my memory serves me right, we're 17 days into this shutdown. This is about halfway to the longest shutdown in history. How long do you see this going on?
Well, it's surely going to go through the Hate America rally, but I think beyond that, they're not hearing the anger from the American people yet. And if you look, the mainstream media is covering for the Democrats. They're trying to say, well, it's both sides, as if there's some kind of equivocation. Look, there's only one bill that opens up the government, and all the Democrats are voting no. 99% of them voted no in the House, 99% of them are voting no in the Senate. So there's one party, the Democrat Party, that is shutting down the government, and until they change their tune, doesn't mean they're going to agree with us on big policy differences. This is just a short-term funding bill to get us to November 21st, and that date's coming soon as well. So, you know, when Chuck Schumer comes to his senses, who knows? All you need is 5 Democrats. Chuck Schumer can still stay tied to the loony left. All you need is 5 Democrats to get some common sense and end this madness, Tony.
You know, Steve, you've been in D.C. for a while. I'm finding unusual discipline on behalf of the Republicans under the leadership of the Republican, yourself and Speaker Johnson, where there seems to be a pretty unified message coming out of the Republicans. And of course, you just have a small margin to work with among Republicans, but there seems to be pretty strong unity.
There really is. I mean, I've never seen Republicans more unified. You know, we're getting a lot of big things done with President Trump. You know, President Trump came in this term, I think you would recognize, even more focused than the first term, where we've been able to get bigger things accomplished in a shorter amount of time. But there's more work to do. And I think that's what the Democrats are trying to do. The Democrats want to ensue chaos throughout the country to slow down the progress we're making. You know, families just want to see lower prices at the pump, which they're seeing, by the way, lower prices at the grocery store, lower interest rates, which we're finally starting to see. But all of that is just the beginning of what we're trying to accomplish, and there's more we can do. We did it all with just Republican votes when we stabilized the tax code, when we secured America's border, when we passed legislation to produce more American energy. They were all party line votes. They shouldn't have been. But all Democrats voted no because they just want to fight and oppose Donald Trump. And I think the voters are going to punish them at the polls next year for it.
All right, Leader Steve Scalise, thanks so much for taking time to join us on this Friday. Always great to see you.
Thank you, and keep pressing the message of voting, how important it is. Let's keep prayer. Prayer is so important, but voting as well. God bless you, Tony.